The following program contains material which may be offensive to some viewers or may be inappropriate for viewing by children. Viewer discretion is advised. Oh, please, run. Do not walk to your nearest hardware store and get a grip.
Okay, it's time to throw open the door to your closet, at least in the privacy of your own home, and break free to the longest-running TV show in the history of television about the gay and lesbian community. It is NightScene. Tonight, we continue our conversation with Roberto, with Viridia, and, of course, Harry Hay, and a special performance, a blast from the past, of the Queenie Sisters. It's the middle of January, it's the middle of winter, and thank you for joining us on this cold night here on NightScene. I hope you're comfortable wherever it is you're at, and hopefully you're with someone that you are very comfortable with. In any case, I hope you are comfortable with NightScene's show tonight. I'm using that word to death. I think we've got a show that you'll enjoy and like very much. We'll be continuing our interview with Viridia, Roberto, Harry Hay, and a special performance, a blast from the past, which you're sure to really like. But now we want to go on to our interview with Viridia. This is the concluding interview, the final segment of our interview with Rosebud 21 Viridia. She talked about in the past about her life as a young gay person, how she related to her parents as a gay person and as a female impersonator. Tonight she's going to talk about what it's like to be a female impersonator, how it affects her life with boyfriends, and I think you're going to find the ending tonight very enlightening, very uplifting, and shall we say unique. So, here we go. NightScene with Viridia.
Well, I always have wanted to be a performer, and so I can't ever see myself not being a performer or expressing myself artistically. So, I mean, that's the route that ideally I want to go in. I mean, I work at a bank right now. I don't see myself being a bank teller or, in customer service all my life.
Is there something about drag queens going to banks roulette works for a bank too?
Actually, you know what? You'd be surprised. I mean, we truly work for rainbow banking. There's a game hunt in every corner. Honestly, it's really hilarious how many gay people work at the bank. But I mean, I think that's true for because we work basically in telephone customer service, and wherever you can just basically sit behind a desk and talk whatever, that tends to be a gay man calling and talking on the phone and doing whatever I mean, what I mean.
So if you're more likely for a banker to be gay than a hairdresser.
Well, no, not well. Everybody can do whatever the hell they want to be, but it is just kind of funny how many gay people there are at the place that I work at.
Yeah, because there's lots of gay people. That's why.
There's lots of gay people everywhere.
Yeah.
They're more noticeable.
So you're working, but you don't want a bank to be your career.
God, no.
You want your career to be in performances?
Yes.
And as a woman, or are you looking to?
No, not as a woman. I'll take what I can get. Let's put it that way, and I'll build on whatever it is that I can that I have to build on.
Okay.
I'm taking the dollar. Yay!
Well, even on NightScene, you can get tips.
Exactly.
If you want to give Viridia a tip, you can send it to.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't have a post office box. I give it out. You can mail it to. You can call us at 286-1764. Leave me your phone number. I'll call you back, and I'll tell you how to send money to Viridia privately.
Then he won't have to stand on the corner at all.
He can meet
some of the people that I know.
He'll meet you downtown on a street corner somewhere. You can give him a tip there. Actually, if people wanted to give you a tip, where would they find you performing at that they could tip you?
The Misfits.
Misfits, is that the place you perform?
Well, I don't like going over to the Embers or anywhere else. I mean, Darcel's, I'm sorry to say, but they're all really tired and they're all really bitchy queens. So I don't want to go over there and perform at all because it's not worth my time, and they don't get it. They never have. And Embers, I have actually been approached by people to come up and say, you should go to Embers and let other people see your talent. But the fact of the matter is, they can come to the club that I perform at, and they can come and they can support the youth there. So,
absolutely.
So me going over there, what's the point? Get off your lazy ass and go whatever the hell you want to do.
That's right. So go to Misfits, and if she isn't performing that night at Misfits, you tell them that you want to see Viridia perform. And find out when she's doing this next.
All the time.
That's right. All right. So even if she's not performing, you can go up and slip her $5 or $10.
Exactly. You can give me any kind of money.
She's a banker. She wants money. Okay. So going back to Rosebud and this when back then, what did you gain out of being Rosebud? How did it help you?
I gained an avenue to do a show whenever I wanted to do, and to express myself in a way that comes easily to me, and that's what I gained out of it. It's kind of a double-edged sword, simply because of the fact that a lot of people are put off by someone being in a dress, a boy being in a dress, or a lot of people are afraid to approach you because you think, oh, you're Rosebud, you're, holier than thou, I can't come up to you, I can't speak to you in a way, a lot of it, they don't think of you as a human, and it's bizarre because you actually can see how a celebrity is treated, because for all intents and purposes, I am a local celebrity, and people know who I am, and people know, a lot of what I'm about, and so, I don't go around, extending myself a lot to people, but at the same time, I'm not a bitch to people. If someone comes up to me and they honestly say, hi, how are you? I'm not going to ignore them. I'm not going to say, whatever, go away.
Do you have any trouble? I mean, people recognize you as Viridia and they come up and talk to you. What about when you're not Viridia? When you're Daniel?
But I haven't been out recently as Daniel, so nobody really, connects that way. I mean, the people that are genuinely attracted to me are already in my life and already, a
people
part.
attracted. How does your boyfriend handle it?
How does my boyfriend handle it?
Yeah,
He became my boyfriend, actually we met at Tower Records, and one of the reasons why he came up to me was because the weekend before I had just won Rosebud, and he said, aren't you, Viridia, didn't you just do this? And I was like, yeah, it was really impressive, and that was cool. And then, the next weekend I went to the club and said, oh yeah, he does go here often, so, we kind of hooked up that way, but he honestly is one of the first people that actually didn't see just the makeup and the hair and whatever, actually saw me as a person and not, as anyone else, and he was genuinely attracted to me, so.
And so he has no problem with the fact that you every now and then dress up as a woman?
No.
No, what, you say that and you laugh.
Well, no, because of course everyone knows that I'm going out with Roulette, so what's the big deal?
Oh, I didn't know that!
Yes.
Roulette?
Oh, yes, I know. Roulette didn't let it slip.
Ah! Well, I mean, how do you relate to the fact that your boyfriend's a drag queen too? I mean, do you ever
Roulette was born afterwards, and one of the, I helped her out. I let her know exactly what, not exactly what to do, but basically I gave her a start and said, what, here is, this is, what I do, this is how it.
Do you think Roulette would have become Roulette if she hadn't met you?
I think Roulette would have been her own incarnation, but wouldn't. How can I? wouldn't exactly be where she's at without my help. And that may sound really bad, but it's not. But because a lot of people don't know what it takes to put on makeup, to do this kind of thing, and she is a great performer in her own right and has learned a lot.
Okay. Roulette, come up here. Come up here with your girlfriend. Come here, 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 come here. I had no idea. Actually, I think I do. I can't remember now.
Yes, you did.
Yes, you're right. I had forgotten all about it. I wish you would have reminded me. You make a wonderful... This is so... Is there very many couples that both perform in drag?
No. In
I
fact,
don't know of any other.
many people are amazed that two, female impersonator drag queens can actually come together and live in the same roof and still not kill each other. So
Well, there's 3 drag queens actually under our roof.
yeah.
But you sleep. You don't sleep with the third one.
No.
I mean,
No.
so
Not yet.
not yet. They're working on it.
Who knows? What may happen in the
It's
future?
gonna be-
Going
it's gonna be the
or
first
something.
drag-
drunk or something. Other than stuff the tongue here or there,
The
whatever.
first drag queen menage a trois. But
I've heard of
Lesbian
videos
drag
like that.
queen.
I've heard of videos. I've never seen the real thing.
Oh God.
this is really fun. Do you ever perform together?
We have been in people's
member.
shows together, but we haven't actually done our own show together. Not yet.
Why don't you?
I think we haven't
Different
just...
personalities.
Yeah. Well.
You should do the song Bosom Buddies.
Oh God, no. Please.
Maybe you can come back and do it on NightScene sometime. Well,
Sorry.
Veridia, Roulette, Alania, I'd like to thank you for being on NightScene. You've all been really illuminating. I've learned a lot from you. Thank you so much. Best of luck with what you're going to do in the future, and I hope the two of you make it to Broadway together in a big Broadway
Chicago,
musical.
here we come.
Here you go. Two drag queens as lovers. That's really unusual, but birds of a feather flock together. It's wonderful the few times I've seen them in performance together. If you'd like to see them, don't forget, you can go on down to Misfits. They perform there quite regularly, and I'm sure they will be performing at other clubs as well. Veridia, she's a wonderful person, a wonderful performer. Thank you so much, Veridia, for taking the time to be on NightScene and tell us about your life. And speaking about learning about someone's life, we're now to go back to our interview with Robert Chavez. We interviewed him last week, and if you remember, we've interviewed him a few weeks before that, but he wasn't Robert then, he was Alania, a beautiful female impersonator. But I talked him to coming back on as his alter ego, as Robert. And now we're learning about Robert as a gay man. Last week he talked about what it was like to be young and gay. Today he's going to talk about what it's like to be gay and Hispanic. You're Hispanic.
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel that, how does this, as a Hispanic community, now the community in Malala, there's a lot of Hispanics out there, is that correct?
There is. It's kind of weird. There's a lot of them, so they're not the minority in population, but they're a minority in class.
Oh, really?
And it's kind of, yeah.
Well, how does the Hispanic community, how does the Hispanic community react to gay people, at least the community that you're familiar with?
Surprisingly well, actually. I mean, you'd think it'd be really kind of awful and kind of negative just because of all the machismo and everything that exists.
Yeah.
But I think it's a lot more accepted, but people just don't talk about it. They're a lot more quiet about it, and I think that's kind of interesting about the Hispanic community, is that they can deal with things a lot better than Americans usually tend to, but quote unquote, but they just don't talk about it for some reason. But it's common knowledge at the same time.
That is a lot.
That there's a lot of activity and a lot of, people that are okay with it, whether they say they are or not.
Yeah. Did you ever want, you mentioned the concept of machismo.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever feel that you were falling down because you didn't feel that way?
No, like, I never really thought about masculinity and femininity in me. I just kind of accepted everything the way it was, and I knew that I didn't want to exaggerate anything just to be exaggerating it, you know? Like, I never flaunted the fact that I like to play with dolls, or I never flaunted the fact that I like to play with dirt. It was just that's the way it was, and that's kind of how I always looked at it. I mean, I was outside helping my dad chop wood, and then I'd go inside and help my mom do housework, and it wasn't just like, I don't know, I was very balanced, and my parents kept me that way.
Well, you're not very effeminate. I don't think people would recognize you as being gay, you know, just by looking at you, and you don't carry yourself that way, and that certainly might have helped.
Yeah, but it's not really a conscious thing either. I mean, I see a lot of guys who I think are funny because, like, actually, Oli, who was, I just saw the interview, he went up to San Francisco, and I thought his story was really funny.
Seattle.
Well, yeah, he moved to Seattle, but he just went to San Francisco recently.
Oh, I see, okay.
And he told me about these people that he'd walk by in the street, and Oli's a very androgynous-looking person.
Yes.
And he said he felt butch compared to, like he said, there's these guys walking down in San Francisco who are just massive and, like, huge muscles and, you know, waxed bodies and just, like, chiseled tan. And he said they were, like, little, flamey, just little thing, you know? And, like, because they try to appease to people's eyes, the masculinity, what people see in their eyes, but in reality they're not masculine at all because they're trying too hard to be something, you know?
They're trying to be what they're not.
Yeah, and like, I've just always, like people like Oli and a lot of my friends, to the eyes they might be just misleading, but, you know, they're just relaxed with themselves, and I don't think they're either trying to be masculine or feminine, they're just human.
So are you relaxed with yourself?
Yeah, I mean, everyone's got things they gotta deal with, but for the most part, you know.
What do you have to deal with?
What do I have to deal with? I don't know, I think I distract my mind so much from relationships, and I think I'd be pretty good at one, and being in a part of one, and I'd like to be able to, you know, get down to do that someday, but I'm just afraid of just the assholes and afraid of getting hurt and afraid of just like wasting my time.
And sometimes you have to take that chance and find out.
That's true.
You know, you can't find out anything if you don't experiment, I guess, or go out and, you know, you got to do a few.
Be vulnerable a little bit.
You got to have a few lemons before you find an orange. How's that? When did you actually begin to come out into the gay community?
I don't even know if I still am out in the gay community.
Well,
that's just kind of weird. I don't know. I
mean, you're pretty well known amongst.
I'm pretty well known, but I just don't. It's not something I'm aware of. I just kind of live my life, and whatever happens, happens. And I guess, you know, one day people didn't really know who I was, and the next day, you know, all of a sudden I have people, you know, saying hi to me at Safeway or something, and like, I don't know this person, but hey, how you doing? So, I mean, obviously that means I'm kind of being more visible in it, but it's not a conscious decision, you know, I want to be visible in the gay community, I want to be visible in such a, it's just, you know, whatever happens.
Interesting. Now, when you left Malala, you're not living there anymore.
No.
You're living in Portland now.
I was living in Portland, now I'm living in Hillsborough.
In Hillsborough, well, Portland.
Yeah.
What changed in your life?
When I moved?
Yeah, I mean, why did you move in the first place, and what kind of changes did it bring in your life?
I moved because I worked for everything that I received from my parents independence-wise, and it got to a point where it was like, you know, I was paying my own rent, I was paying my own phone, my own insurance, and I was like, you know, I can do this. I can live on my own, and it was just kind of like, I didn't want to run out of the house at once. I wanted to make sure everything was at least on good terms with my parents before I left, but it just got to be the time where I recognized I'll be okay on my own right now, and it's time. So it wasn't something I was in a rush to do, but it was something that I just felt was time, and it was kind of getting harder just because of the distance, obviously, and I started making a lot more friends down here, and I just thought it'd be a lot easier in a lot of ways to get out of the house.
So, what happened when you moved? How did your life change?
I can't honestly say that it was a drastic thing, because everything in my life has been very gradual and very I think because I don't let there be roadblocks and I don't let there be like this huge obstacle I gotta get around. It's just, okay, that I gotta deal with that, da 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 da, and then I deal with it at my own pace. And then I think what's interesting about this, and it's kind of disappointing to say it, but I think my experience is more just a human experience than anything else. And like anybody could be watching this and relate to it. And it's not necessarily just this gay boy talking about his gay life.
Robert represents so well the diversity of our gay community. Tonight we've learned a little bit about what it's like to be gay and Hispanic. Join us next week as Robert tells a little bit more about his life as a young man, as a gay man, as an Hispanic man, and even more. Right here on NightScene. And of course, we like to bring you diversity in the show, and now it's time for the blast from the past. Now, the last few weeks we've been showing a lot of, shall we say, more recent performances, but now we're going back into the vault, back to January of 1990 and NightScene number 20, and a show featuring 3 very talented young female impersonators, Brittany Tay, Morgan Le Fay, and Diva, also known as the Queenie Sisters.
What to do tonight? I hope you're in the mood because I'm feeling just right. Close the door, I corner with a table for 2. Hear the music mellow, we some gay rendezvous. There's no sense romancing with a blue attitude. You know you got to do some dancing to get in the mood. Mr. Wash will call her mom and daddy to you. You get our clothes, I'll show what good influence can do. You never felt so happy or so fully alive. He's a gentleman jumping, he's a powerful jive. Swingaroo is giving me a new attitude. My heart is full of rhythm and I'm in the mood. In the mood. In the groove. In the mood. Give me some kisses. You know it won't be long before you're in the mood. Don't be rude. It's up to you. Love is blind. It didn't take me long to say I'm in the mood. Ba-doo-ba-doo-ba-doo-da-doo-day. Hey, swing with me. What will it be? May I intrude this time? That I'm in the mood. Darling, let's romance. It's 2:45. There's a mouse in the moonlight. Cheer with me, you know. I think it's rude to keep it sweet when I'm in the mood. I'm in the mood. In the groove. In the mood. You really got me looking. Oh, you really got me looking. Oh, my brain was skipping. I say, come on. Come on. Come on, come on, come on, come on. Now, fall. Right now, fall. Now, fall. And now I'm really in the mood. Fall. Now, bend. Now, bend. Now, bend. Why don't we go somewhere smooth? It's gotta be right now.
That was the Queenie Sisters. I don't think they're performing together anymore, but most of them are still here in Portland. Diva, well, he's a bartender at, well, you'll have to figure that out for yourself. But if you go out to some of the clubs here in Portland, you've probably seen Diva, but not as Diva. And now it's time for our continuing interview with Harry Hay. Last week, he talked about how the roots of what he learned about oppression came out of the trade union movement and the Communist Party. Quite an interesting interview. Tonight we're going to continue our interview. He's going to talk a little bit about, once again, his relationship with Will Greer and what Will went on to, and a little bit about his own personal life and how this evolved his commitment to the gay community.
He went on being. He didn't go on being. I don't know how long he was in the party. This I don't know, because after all, he belonged to an actors group, and I didn't continue as an actor. as the Second World War, I went into what was known as production engineering, because we had to do various other things during the Second World War, and I found I was excellent at doing this. And I love production engineering very much, and as a matter of fact, whole groups of people developed a whole industry out of the Second World War, which is now known as systems engineering. Well, I'm one of the grandfathers of systems engineering. I really loved this, and I was very good at it. So I went into that particular field, and I stayed with it. Now, Will went on to being an actor. I never went back to the theater after the Second World War. I involved myself at this point, but I was very much involved with the CIO labor school, for example, and I taught the history and development of folk music in the labor school, and tied it into and showed how folk music had been the earliest language of resistance, for example, and how many times music actually was a way by which you could organize beyond the realm of the spoken word. When the spoken word was forbidden, we could use music to organize people with, and we did it very frequently. For instance, the whole story of the Underground Railroad. Most of the movements that went around the Underground Railroad were worked by the spirituals. And you have to know which spirituals had how to do it and what to do with them and how they were put across. And once you understand that kind of double language beyond the realm of the spoken word, it would be a way by which we could organize ourselves if we had to. And so I always taught that. I taught all my people how they could do it as well. And some of the people that I taught were guys like Pete Seeger, for example, who came to my class.
Pete Seeger was in your class.
Pardon?
Pete Seeger was in your class.
Yeah,
What do you remember about Pete Seeger?
Well, I know Pete. I knew Pete very well, and I knew Pete before he became the Almanac Singers, which is 1941, 42. And for instance, whenever Pete came out from New York to Los Angeles, he stayed at my house. I knew him very well. When he found out that I was gay, he cut me off cold. For years. It was very embarrassing, and kind of broke my heart. I don't want to talk about it, if you don't mind.
It's sad when someone that you know and respect and care for turns their back on you when they find out you were gay. Harry Hay had this happen to him with Pete Seeger. It probably happened several other times in his life. It's happened in all our lives. And how we deal with it is a measure of how mature and responsible we are. We'll continue with our interview with Harry Hay next week. Once again, this brings us to an end of Night Scene. Thank you very much for joining us. If you'd like to, give us a call, some information, some comments about the show, give us a call, 286-1764. It's a 24-hour-a-day answering machine, so you can call anytime you want. Leave your name and phone number. I promise to get back to you. I would really love to hear from you, and once in a while, may even play your comments back for our viewing audience to hear. So, until next week, this is Lanny Swerdlow saying thank you ever so much for joining us on Night Scene. Good night.
Love is blind. It didn't take me long to say I'm in the mood. Ba-do-ba-do-bum-boo-da-do-day. Ba-da-da-da-da-da-da-do-day. The beautiful lies, what was this I trumpeted? Hey, swim with me. What a way it'll be. May I intrude a time dance? I'm in the mood. I'm the godliness. It's 2:45. There's an awesome moonlight cheer with me, you know. I think it's rude to keep it sweet when I'm in the mood. I'm in the mood, in the groove, in the mood. Like you really got me looking, and you really got me looking, my brain was skipping. I said, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on, come on.
Hello, I'm Paul Stanford. And I'm Paul Loney. We'd like to urge you to watch our show, Cannabis Common Sense, where we tell the truth about marijuana and the politics behind its prohibition. It's on every Sunday night at 10:30 on Channel 11. Right on Portland Cable Access. I'd also urge you to call us if you'd like a copy of our petition, the Oregon Cannabis Tax Act, at
235-4606. That's 235-4606.
Or look at our webpage at www.crrh.org.
And don't forget to watch every Sunday night, 10:30, Channel 11.
Cannabis Common Sense. Thanks.